And it's hard to deny the effectiveness of the president's tweet. In 30 seconds with 270 characters, he basically stopped the largest pharmaceutical company in the world in terms of conducting business as usual. And I think it definitely got the attention of every C-suite executive in the industry. And I would argue that I think companies are going to think twice before sort of implementing price increases in the 8 to 9% range, which, frankly, have been on autopilot for many, many years.
What this really underscored in terms of the president's tweet and targeting Pfizer specifically, I mean, the public is outraged. And every time you see these headlines, I'm sure it stirs up even more public anger towards these pharmaceutical companies. I mean, if you can explain to me, Elliot, why does Pfizer, why would this have been the second price increase to the price to Viagra in the course of a year when Viagra is a drug that has gone generic already? Absolutely. And you know what? It makes absolutely no sense. It's simply bad decision making and terrible policy on their part. The price of Viagra has increased at nearly a 25% annual rate over the last 4 years, and it's been off patent and it's highly genericized. Pfizer has less than 4% of the units. So in terms of the actual dollar generation from a price increase like that, they're essentially gaining none of the benefit and taking, all of the, receiving all the bad publicity.
Elliot, my colleagues will not be surprised to hear me complain about the following, but one of the reasons Americans spend so much on drugs is we basically subsidize the R&D for the rest of the world, where we have controlled drug pricing in many other countries. I mean, the president spent so much time beating up the Europeans about NATO last week. He could also weigh in. He has said before the way other countries treat us when it comes to drug pricing is completely wrong. Any chance that we're ever going to see that budge, a change in attitude by overseas players, that maybe they ought to pay for the R&D? The more you pay for it, the more you get, the more people's lives will be saved?
Well, it's certainly not an easy issue to fix, and that gap has existed for a very, very long period of time. But I certainly think that the one way that the U.S. could attack that differential, frankly, is to essentially peg prices in the U.S. to some sort of reference basket of ex-U.S. countries. Say something that CMS wouldn't pay more than 150% of the average price of a particular 5-country basket, and that would essentially make the pharmaceutical companies the bad guys, and they would have to enforce more realistic pricing schemes on ex-U.S. purchases.
That's an interesting idea, but would Congress allow that to happen?
Look, I think the pharmaceutical industry has lost a tremendous amount of lobbying power over the years, and I can't see how that simply doesn't make economic sense, and I'm not sure necessarily what the downside is of making such a move.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.